Hey guys, JC Smith here. Well, I went ahead and painted over that 395A. This is our oil base, Rust-Oleum, thin and sprayed. I don't know if it'll stay. It may just peel off. I don't know. But at the very least, first off, at least we'll know if we can paint over that garbage or not. Second off, if any of it stays and I'm not bumping up against it and getting that tar all over me, it's worth it. There's about a half a gallon on this frame. I put it on pretty heavy. I got 4 coats total. Like I said, I don't know if it'll hold or not. We'll see. But I needed to go ahead and paint the brackets, leaf spring the rear end, and the cross members anyway, so there you go. At least it shines good. And got a nice coat on. You can actually see my reflection for what it is. So there's what we did there, and now we're working on the wheels. These wheels are just in horrible paint as far as or condition as far as the paint's concerned. I don't have a sandblaster, and I don't want to invest the amount of time in it that it takes to make these nice. I can, when I'm ready, I can take these and change them out for reconditioned wheels already done, pretty reasonable, and they'll take my tires off and swap them on here pretty cheap. So maybe someday that's what we'll do, but for right now we've knocked all the loose crap loose off of it and cleaned it up. We're gonna prime paint now. You know, it's not gonna look great. You know, these places are gonna show. You know, they're big imperfections, but if it's all white when I'm done, then it's all white with me. So, alright, let's move on. Well, just a little bit of a slow up. This is off the bottom of the reservoir, and I don't know if you can tell here, but there's no thread sealer on anything here. Okay, this was all put together dry, and this was all gooped up and, you know, been leaking for years. You can still see some of it right in here. I just do it in the parts washer, try to get it cleaned up before I take it apart. But I'm gonna take it all apart, and we'll get some liquid Teflon. Remember, in hydraulics, most of your companies don't want you to use Teflon tape. They want you to use liquid Teflon, because I guess, or at least the pump I got says to use liquid Teflon, or liquid thread sealer, it says, not Teflon tape. Apparently I don't want that tape getting into the gears, so let's get it apart, get it sealed up. You know, I gotta tell you that I keep saying that I can't wait to be done with this truck, but you know, it's things like this, these fittings. I mean, this is where a lot of my day gets eaten up. You know, I just showed you what this was. There was absolutely no sealer, no thread sealer on any of this, and it was just caked in grease. You know, so it didn't take very long to take it off and clean it up, but it's just more time. You know, there's a half an hour of taking them off the truck, take it all apart, soak them in the parts washer, and then wire wheel it all and get it all good and clean. And it goes on the bottom of there, which will be right here once I put it on. So, you know, when is the time to do it but now? And then we found out that I had completely forgotten that this valve sits down below the subframe. Well, the air dryer was sitting right here, so I had to take it loose and cut out the huck bolts for this cross member here, so I could move the air dryer out here and use these two and get it kind of in this area, so I don't have to redo a bunch of lines, because the line from the engine is stainless. It's a stainless braided line wherever it got to. It's hanging around here. There it is. That's a stainless braided line. And this one comes from the air tank, you know, right into the one air tank. So, you know, that I can just manipulate fittings and twist it, and I should be able to take this braided one out of the cluster and get it out of that cross member and get it down low enough in this area to fit. But, you know, these are the things that have made this project, well, any project, take longer, because, you know, it's like I'll take an extra half hour to take this apart, and take me another half hour to, you know, put some, this is what I use, is this GM liquid Teflon. Put that on there, and it's a whole lot easier to do it now, but it just takes time. But at least I'll know that's sealed up and it won't leak no more. So that being said, quit flapping my trap and get to work. Alright, it's all sealed up, all back together. We're going to set the bed in place now. So we want to put the headache rack, or put the dump bed on, and this headache rack clears the cab, but the door was hitting on this piece of metal right here, so I had to remove it and cut it. So now we're just putting a little bit of primer on the edge where I cut, just so it doesn't rust over the winter real bad. We'll put some primer and some paint on it. Okay guys, so there it is. It is, let's use the word done here, as done as it's going to be for right now. There's still some other things I'm going to do later, but as of right now, they're not a big deal. The truck is functioning, it's safe, it's right, but there's some other things I'd like to address. So, like one of them is, I may change out this front bumper. It's got a dent right here, but we're coming into winter, so there's really no sense in putting anything super nice on it right now, because I think I have either a really nice painted one or a chrome one that would be nice on it. And I'm going to change the hood out, because that hood's got a little bit of damage in that left front corner. We cleaned the wheels up and painted them as best as we could, but I guess it turned out alright for what it is. I'm going to add a couple more braces. I'm going to add one more brace from the sub-assembly right there where those 3 holes are. You can see them right here. Add 2 more holes, or 2 more bolts on each side. And We'll probably clean the wheels up and paint them. But for all intents and purposes, I think the old girl is pretty much done. I think she's as done as she's going to be. As far as the budget's concerned, the cheap dump truck ended up not being cheap, of course. A little more than I wanted to, but you know, I think the end result is worth it. It's a decent looking truck, and it sure runs good, drives good. It still has two mechanical things I have to tend to once we get some time, and one is on the back of the air compressor, there's an oil leak on the compressor itself. It drips oil. So I'm going to have to change that, fix it, and the engine oil cooler, where it goes in the back of the timing cover, there's an O-ring seal there that's dripping. So I'll have to fix those two things. But everything else works. Let me show you the dumping angle. Okay, so there is our maxed out dump angle. The telescoping ram is fully extended at that point, so that's a nice angle. I can't tell for certain, but it sure looks like 45 degrees to me, which is more than adequate for what we do. Okay, so now I've had a lot of guys comment or send me emails, ask me, you know, why in the world I go through all this for a temporary truck. Okay, well, two reasons. One, the truck that I wanted to put this on, if you guys don't know that, it's being loaned out to a friend of mine who's in kind of a bad situation with his work truck that he works for himself. His work truck, the engine blew up. It was a Mercedes diesel. He's got a wife and 3 kids, and he doesn't have the money to fix the truck right now, so he's borrowing my truck. So that being said, it's going to be out for a while, and I still need a dump truck. So this truck I had laying around, this is a parts truck. I never intended for this truck to be on the road. Now, so I weighed my options. I had this one and I had another one. And this one I had less money in than the other option, okay? Now, this truck had a 24-foot long frame, as we all know. And then we moved it forward, okay? What that did is now, when I'm ready to take this bed off, I'm thinking that when I go to have this thing sandblasted, I will take the whole thing off, have it sandblasted and painted, and put it on the other truck. And then this truck will become a day cab, a single axle day cab, which would be very useful for me, okay, because I got a 53-foot step deck trailer that I use, and it would work perfect with this truck, and an 84 cab axle is what I need. Now, that being said, there's a couple things that we did to kind of get it ready for that. So doing all this work to make it a dump truck is one thing, because actually making it a dump bed wasn't really the difficult part. Moving the tanks, moving the battery box, taking that tank out, moving all the stuff, and drilling all the holes, that was the hard part. Putting the dump bed on and hooking it up, that was actually probably the easiest part. Anyways, so this will become a day cab, single axle day cab truck. So that we'll I have a sliding fifth wheel we can put on here. Now, I don't think anybody noticed when I said I was making this 10'4", but on the frame length, but this is why. Alright, you see here, we've matched the angle very close, the dumping angle. And that is because once I put a fifth wheel on here and put our step deck trailer on, every time that there's a pivot, I guess there's a better way to show you that. Every time that you would see, imagine a flatbed trailer on there, and it hits a bump, it does this. You see where my frame's cut, okay? It has to have a relief so that when you're turning, you're not getting caught on the frame, okay? That's one of the reasons it's moved back so far. And then we cut it like this, and it's not finished because we're putting a piece of plate steel. And pay attention to this, because I'm going to solder all this once I put my 7 pins on. This is just temporary because I think you guys know I wouldn't do stuff like this. We're putting a plate across the back of this, okay? And back here will be an RV style 7 pin, a round 7 pin, and a 6 pin. So we'll be able to tow whatever trailer we need to with this truck, okay? And then also we're going to run a 7 pin semi up to the back of the cab. And then we'll actually put, since we're going to have this as stamped steel, we'll put glad hands back here for a trailer with air brakes. So this truck is multiple. You know, it's a dump truck as long as I need it to be a dump truck. And then when I need it to be a day cab semi, that's what it's going to be. But until then, be a decent truck. You know, it's nothing special, but it'll work out. Let's go ahead and put that bed down here. My wife's got the interior all cleaned up. Won't believe it's the same truck. Nice and clean. I don't feel like I need gloves to get in here. Here's my PTO. Disengage PTO. And bed down. But yeah, like I said, it cleaned up really nice. You know, she got, with the exception where my dirty feet have been, as you can see, she got everything cleaned up real nice, and got the headliner scrubbed up, and the dash is all clean, and the steering wheel's all cleaned up. And there's one thing I haven't done yet, and that's basically because I don't know where I want to put it, but this is the ground wire for the PTO light to let you know that the PTO is still engaged. And I just can't seem to decide where I want to put it, because so many times companies will put these things somewhere you can't see when you're driving, you know. I thought about putting it right here, but I'm going to need that for the glad hands for a trailer. So I'm thinking I'm going to put it in one of these panels here. And because I was going to put it here, but you can't see it when you're driving, because this is what you see when you're driving. You can't see that stuff. It's back behind here. But anyways, it's okay. It runs good. It drives good. Turned out pretty good. All cleaned up, ready. So that's it. We're gonna stick a fork in it, and this one is done for now. So if you guys like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and leave your comments down below.